Okay, so hi, it's Krisha here, and I'm joined with,
Karina Patel.
Jonathan Quinn.
and basically we're doing our podcast, and what we're going to be doing is discussing Simon's death in Lord of the Flies because we know that was a big controversial moment. So there's a lot of aspects surrounding Simon's death that we want to go over, such as first of all who was responsible, and then at the end there's also a lot of imagery and symbolism towards when he's like drifting in the water, and we also want to go over that as well. So starting with his death, who do you guys think was responsible?
I partly believe that Simon's death was natural because he did suffer from epilepsy and he did faint a lot in the beginning of the book. So yeah, I do think that most of it could have been natural. However, also the stress placed on top of him because of the fact that they were stuck on an island and that they had no adults with them. They had to learn how to live on their own. He probably was filled with a lot of stress because of that, which increased.
What about the whole thing about when he was attacked and everything?
I think that comes from their human nature, from being on the island for so long. Because in regular society, they had no reason to show that.
Mm-hmm.
Since they were on the island for so long, they showed that, and then since that came out, they I guess used that in a sense that to kill Simon because they thought he was the beast.
I also think that a lot of it was I don't know, but I feel like they had a lot of beliefs that were surrounding kind of different different things that they resorted to because they were so stranded. So for one of them was religion and a different type of sacrifice that they were resorting to. So for example, on page 133, Jack says, "And about the beast, when we kill, we'll leave some of the kill for it. Then it won't bother us, maybe." So basically, this just shows kind of the religious aspect that they had within themselves. So maybe they saw it in a way like a sacrifice, or they were doing some better for the island and maybe appealing to a higher power. So that could also be a reason. But I don't know if they would be necessarily blamed for that if that's what they truly believed. But I mean, I guess they could.
I think also Simon, in a way, could be blamed for his own death because, he already knew that the boys were worried about the beast, and then in a sense, he could have came, when he was running out of the forest, he could have, came out, walked out of the forest and not, ran and screamed, which would have scared the boys. Walked and be oh, there isn't a beast, it's just a dead parachutist. But instead, he chose to run and, scream, which seemed like the beast to the boys.
Yeah. Also, before his death, he's with flies, so, the pig on the head that's surrounded by flies, obviously. So he's with the Lord of the Flies, and so he basically is talking with the Lord of the Flies, and there's a quote here that says, so here, the Lord of the Flies goes, "You're a silly little boy, just a silly little boy," on page 143. And so he's just kind of making fun of Simon in a way, and then Simon passes out after that, and so he shows it shows how Simon knows about the evil, and he knows more than the others, and also he kind of represents Jesus in a way, and his death represents the crucifixion of Jesus.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What theme do you think can be connected to Simon's death?
Probably the theme of first of all, definitely civilization versus savagery, I think, because obviously you see the boys turn completely under Jack's rule. And I also think a big theme in Lord of the Flies was juxtaposing the two different types of rule. So obviously you see that with Jack's more authoritarian role, he's more effective in like getting people to listen, and then but it also leads to horrendous things like that. So I guess there's like a lot of themes that could be connected because there's a bunch of ways in which you can interpret it and see it and stuff. So
Yeah. So do you guys think that Simon's death was like foreshadowed in any way?
well, I think it was like foreshadowed from the beginning when we see Simon was like always like by himself in a recluse, meditating and praying and stuff like that. So also he's like one to like he's like very intelligent and stuff. So you can already tell that like first of all he and also we saw him like pass out at the beginning or something. So you know that first of all he has this condition. Second of all he's like portrayed as a Christ figure because he's more like enlightened than the rest of them. So you already see that he's at this higher position, and usually characters like that, like Christ figures, are gonna have that downfall. And also we saw he was weak at the beginning, so I guess that could have also foreshadowed it.
I think also this isn't really much of like foreshadowed, but like when he first encountered like Lord of the Flies, like National Forest, and like the dead pig's head, like you could sense like something was gonna happen because he was the only person, he was the first person who had the encounter with Lord of the Flies. So
Yeah, and when were you still talking?
no.
Okay, so when the Lord of the Flies, like he's kind of like teasing something in a way. When he's doing that, he's like saying that he's gonna have like fun with Simon, right? And so by like fun, like instead of like the fun symbolizes like he's gonna kill, like he's gonna die. Simon's gonna die. I feel like that like
What do you guys think? Like surrounding Simon's death, there was also a lot of like light and dark imagery. So for example, on page 145, they talk about white and brown clouds brooding, and then later, a few pages later, it's going to talk about, I think more clouds, or something about the rain, or the sky was scattered with the incredible lamps of stars, so more light and dark imagery there, and then there's even more on the following page. So what do you guys think, like, Golding has a lot of light and dark imagery during, especially Simon's death, so what do you guys think is the significance of that?
Well, it shows, okay, I feel like the light represents like Simon and how he's like one with nature, and he's more enlightened than the others, like that Christ figure. But like the dark shows that something will happen to him because he knows so much. His knowledge will lead to his downfall. Yeah, like even on page 145, like you were saying, the white and brown clouds brooded. Like, there's also another quote here. It says, "The light was unearthly. The Lord of the Flies hung on his stick like the black ball." So it's talking about the light, but also the dark, because like the black ball.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that like his death and everything, this all took place at night, and like night is dark, and then dark is usually associated with like evil, and light is associated with good. So I think since Simon like represents that good, and he was killed at night, this like represents like the dark, the evil on the island from the boys, like basically took over, and like that's what killed him. Like there was so much evil, and like it overcame the good that was came.
I like how you mentioned like good and evil with light and dark. I also feel like that could be like enlightenment and ignorance too. It's like different ways that you can turn good and or light and dark. Do you guys want to talk? Do you guys want to talk more about like who was responsible for it, or do you guys want to talk more about like imagery after he was in the water, like whatever?
We can talk about who's responsible for it.
Okay.
Like, okay, so I even think that. So, some people think that like Ralph and Piggy were responsible for it,
I
right?
don't really think Ralph is responsible for it, because I feel like the biggest argument with Ralph, first of all, is that like he should have said something or whatever, or he just went along with it and he like abandoned his own like values. But I mean, I guess that's like if you like put him in a power of responsibility, then I guess he could be like he could have done something about it, but I don't think he was responsible solely because people think that he should have been the one to step up, because realistically everyone has that right or that obligation. And then another big argument that people make is about Simon, that, oh, he should have seen it coming, you know, like, he's so smart, he should have seen it coming. That's also, I feel like, a weak argument. So, like, who do you guys think is the most responsible for?
I think Simon, like, going back to why Simon has some responsibility, like is somewhat responsible, is because he, like, chose to go up to the mountains by himself, and then after he was, like, had his encounter with Lord of the Flies, he said, like, he was gonna meet him again, and he chose to walk up and, like, go to the dead parachutist, and then he chose to go back down to, like, to the beach.
I understand what you're saying, but, like, I also feel like, how would he have known, right? Like, what?
Because, like, the pig, like, the Lord of the Flies said, like, I can try to find the quote, but he said, like, if you go back down to the island, like, I will meet you there again, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. But, like, I guess if, in the sense, well, first of all, he was hallucinating, right? So, like, I mean, I guess, like, if you took that into consideration, maybe, but I also think that, like, I understand that he could have prevented it, but I don't think he was responsible. Because, like, in terms of, like, who was the main perpetrator, it was definitely, I think, Jack.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe not even Jack. Like, I wouldn't say solely Jack, because, again, that goes with the whole, like, you are in a power to fix it, so you're responsible, because it's also, like, the people who are actually doing it. So I think everyone was really responsible.
I think mostly it was Jack, but everyone had some.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so let's go on to, I really love, like, I'm obsessed with, like, the imagery and, like, the symbolism that the author uses, especially, like, on page 154. Like, that entire thing is just really, like, fascinating. So, like, first of all, like, you see him using, like, a lot of light and dark imagery again, but this time it's, like, through specific words instead of, like, passages. So, like, for instance, page 154 in my book. So, like, for instance, he'll talk about pearls and silver and brightness. So, like, all of that is, like, good, versus he'll also talk about, like, fiery, which could have, like, a negative connotation towards it. Or, like, he'll talk about darkened, and, like, there's more, but there's also, like, more of those, like, good words. So, like, it kind of shows that Golding is showing that goodness is overriding that dark stuff.
Yeah. So, do you guys want to talk more about how Simon is displayed as, like, Jesus and the examples and stuff about it in the book?
Yeah, definitely. So, like, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, well, first of all, on page 154, you see a lot of that already, right? Because he's surrounded by those bright creatures that form a halo, and then you're also seeing him, his line of his cheek is silvered, and then the biggest thing is, like, the water dressed Simon with brightness. So, like, that's, like, it's kind of, like, decorating Simon, like, before he goes off and, like, leaves everyone. Like, they're dressing him, like, if he was, like, a greater person or whatever. So, like, there's a lot of that. And then there's also, like, something that I noticed, like, see where it says, like, it says the turn of his shoulder became sculptured marble. So what does sculptured marble remind you guys of?
Sculptured marble?
That reminds me of, like, I don't know about you guys, but that reminds me of, like, Medusa, and, like, she was turning everyone to stone, right? So, like, when people are, like, ignorant of when Medusa's present, they'll look into her eyes and they'll turn into stone, right? So Simon's ignorance in terms of the boys, like, their true nature, leads him to have his shoulder become sculptured marble, which is obviously figurative, but, like, you could see that Golding is maybe trying to make this connection, right? So it also shows that, like, ignorance can have, like, this permanent mark on you, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I also saw an example, like, on page 56, towards the beginning, when Simon went into that little, that forest or whatever, but at one point he, before that, he was walking with the little ones, and he stopped and gave them fruit before he, and like the fruit also kind of connects to the Bible in a way because good. So
You cut off,
I feel
Can you say that again?
Sorry,
You cut off.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, I feel like it on page 56. It says here that roar of bees in the afternoon sun found for them the fruit they could not choices from up in the foliage down stretched hands. So basically, he was eating fruit for the little ones, and the fruit is also displayed in like the Bible when Adam and Eve tree and evil or the tree of knowledge.
You kept cutting out,
So-
but I kind of know what you're saying.
I think that like he like the Christ figure because it will like the Lord of the Flies is considered like the devil, and in like the Bible, Jesus is confronted by the devil like many times, and in this book like Lord of the Flies, like no one else has like had that encounter, and so like, relating to Jesus and the devil.
Okay.
And Simon was Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we had a good discussion. So yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.